just love that intro. Wow, I could have gone forever.
That was pretty cool.
Yes.
I love that.
Awesome.
That
Thank
was
you,
cool.
Keith.
Was that from your band?
That was Keith's band.
We are not letting that one go.
Yeah. So we're getting the band back together again. Isn't that cool? All
Yeah,
of
we're
us
getting
here at one time.
So
We're
fun.
Yeah, we're going to be talking about what, is live streaming the networking that we thought it could be, and could we have fun with it? And you're all invited to come and watch us and see and join in the conversation as well. So my name is Joel Bueller. I'm here with my co-host Keith Keller. Our live streaming Decoded show we've been running for quite some time, and we've got some amazing guests here. And let's just go around the Brady Bunch loop. Doug, you start your top right for me. So,
Doug Morneau, I live in Vancouver, Canada. I'm a podcaster. I'm a dad, a granddad, Olympic weightlifter, and CrossFit athlete.
Wow.
awesome.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah. I'm not any of those things.
I was going to say, I'm a slacker. That's what I
I'm
am.
glad I'm not next. Crystal, you're next.
Christine?
Crystal, you're next.
Crystal.
Oh, okay. Crystal Williamson, native New Yorker, life coach, the creator of Small Changes Are Huge.
Fantastic. Thanks. Welcome, Crystal. Sarjeet, you're next. I'll go with you next.
Yeah, this is Sarjeet from San Francisco Bay Area, doing technology for the last 25 years. Studied economics, but I don't know, somehow I fell into software development. So here I am.
Are you climbing out of that hole or what?
No, actually, I'm just swimming in this ocean of
Swimming.
zeros and ones.
All right, cool. Thank you, Sarjeet. And Linda.
Hi, I'm Linda Ray. My company is Aurora Consulting, and I have another company, Bridge Street Business Plans. We are commercial financing brokers. We also create business plans for business owners, and I'm a licensed insurance producer in the state of Connecticut.
Fantastic.
And a
Thank you, Linda.
badass.
Thank you, Christine.
She's got
Badass,
a nice picture of
badass.
Hawaii in the back.
You're an Olympic badass. That's it. Olympic
All right.
badass.
And we have Christine with the beautiful red background. Welcome, Christine.
As always. Hey, Christine Gritman here from the beautiful Hudson River village of Nyack, New York, just a little bit north of Crystal and a little bit west of Linda. And I work with small business owners to teach them how to do their own social media better.
Fantastic. Thank you. Anne-Marie, welcome.
Welcome to everyone. Anne-Marie Cross. I am in Melbourne. We are back in lockdown, but that's okay. We can connect with people through StreamYard. So I've been dubbed the podcasting queen. Very first podcast I ever did was with yours truly, Keith Keller. And we did that back in 2008 and podcasting ever since. And so now what I do is help change makers who feel like the world's best kept secret go from invisible to influential and profitable with their own thought leader podcast.
Fantastic. Thanks, Anne-Marie.
Everyone.
And Gail, welcome.
Hey,
How are
Hey,
Hey.
Great to see you
Hi,
again.
everybody else. Hi, Sanjit. How's it going? My name is Gail Murphy. I'm here in Hollywood, California, under the shadow of the Hollywood sign. I am the celebritizer. I am a Hollywood correspondent, a media trainer, a speaker, and an author of interview tactics, how to survive the media without getting clobbered. And I teach people how to use the media in their business
Fantastic.
and in their life.
Well, thank you for joining us.
And let me introduce Chocolate Johnny, because he
Oh,
is
there we
the
go.
Gary V of chocolate.
Yes, your chocolates.
I'm
He's
really
the-
starstruck by Chocolate Johnny. I'm very
he is the chocolate. Because let me just play this out. You've been to social media world, Christine, haven't you? And Chocolate
Yes,
Johnny has
I have.
spoken on
Yeah.
that stage. Were
I'm
you there when
gonna
he
look on my
spoke?
phone to see if I have a selfie with him from some
Yeah.
time or another.
I have to say, for Christine to be starstruck,
I'm very starstruck.
that's crazy because she knows all the big players in the social media space.
Although,
So
unlike
Johnny
my friend Chad, I've never met Chocolate Johnny at an airport dressed like an Oompa Loompa.
Ah, Oompa Loompa! I've seen that video. I've seen that
that's
video.
my friend Chad.
That's funny.
Sorry.
So anyway, great introduction. You go, Johnny. Tell me all about you.
You are muted, so.
I'm muted, am I?
Or no.
Okay.
It just says you are for some reason. Don't
I
Okay.
can
worry.
hear you now.
G'day everyone, my name's John Capos, aka Chocolate Johnny, and through the power of live streaming, social media, Perfection Chocolates, my little small business in Sydney, Australia, has become a global brand, and my personal brand has become a global brand. And I coach, mentor, and help small business owners to take their social media to that next level. And I'm just here to have a bloody great time with everyone.
Yeah.
Did you bring some chocolates?
Oh, mate, yours are in the mail. Keith's in the mail.
They're virtual chocolates.
They're
Yeah,
virtual
let's have a
chocolates.
virtual.
Zoom chocolates.
Dougie, how,
Oompa Loompa.
Dougie, how are you, mate?
The chocks are in the
Good,
mail.
Yeah. All right. So if you're watching live, please feel free to drop us a comment or a
Hey,
question.
there's a good mate of
share
mine,
it as well.
Mike O'Neill. He's the rock star of LinkedIn. He's the chocolate Johnny of LinkedIn. This guy's a rock star.
Fantastic.
Where is
Well,
Mike?
welcome, Mike.
Where is Mike Neal?
I asked him to come, but he's not a live streamer, but he's happy to come in and have a chat to us. And he's got a book about LinkedIn, about how to rock LinkedIn.
Awesome.
And
Well,
If
welcome,
you
Mike.
tell him David Lee Roth is on this show,
Yeah.
just
And
saying. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
he
So
would get that reference.
yeah, that's okay. Well, we're all rock stars, so we all gotta
Yeah,
we all
especially
gotta be
Keith.
rock stars. Yeah. So let's get started here. We've got a lot of stuff here, and just a couple of questions we kind of want to walk through, and then obviously we'll just open it up and have a good time too. But how has live streaming changed the way that you network? What's big? What's little? What's happening? What's not? Is this the wave of the future? Are we kind of going back in time?
Well, let's do a round table on that. I
Yeah.
think
Yeah.
I think this particular idea of 10 people on a call at once. Let's just play this out. Melbourne, Perth, Vancouver, New York, San Francisco, LA, Sydney, and a really cool village in New York State, and Connecticut. You know,
Yeah,
in the-
Roxbury.
Two
Roxbury,
minutes,
Marilyn
2 minutes
Monroe
from the
has
Maryland
lived here.
House. Yeah. So look at what we're achieving. Erica's on the call somewhere trying to get in. She's in Jamaica. But we've got 10 people on the call at one time in all these different time zones and all these different weather patterns. And I think this could definitely be a version of the future that I could get excited about. And I'm just wondering whether or not people think it is a thing, if it's a fad, or when COVID finishes, we're just going to all go back into the city.
Can I raise my hand? I'm raising my hand.
Linda.
So I think, and I know I've mentioned this before, this is my third visit with you very hospitable gentlemen, and I really think that this is a way for introverts to unite in being able to have a space to connect with people and to present and promote and actually be efficient. I am productive even if I do not shower. I'm just here to tell you. So I think this is a new way that we can have information transmitted and transformed for people who are, have embraced the fact that, okay, so we're isolated, we're safe, or we're on lockdown, or we're quarantined, whichever word you want to use. I think it's also a way for us to start learning skills that we may have put on the back burner.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally agree. I agree with Linda. I think this is a great way to for us all to connect, network, meet people we're too afraid to meet. But on the back of that, I cannot wait till it's all over. I think this will continue. I think this will evolve. I think this will get bigger and more powerful as the technology gets even stronger. And then I think then the next step is, I love seeing everyone online, but there's nothing like going to an event and giving someone a hug. Even hopefully this COVID will be over. We could be tactile again, sit down for coffee, have a chat, and be amongst it and build that connection even more. That once you get to see someone in real life, then you get that feeling and go, oh, now that's what you really look like. Oh, this is what you sound like. Oh, wow, I can't wait. Let's connect even more. And then when you get back online, you look at each other, it's like, oh, see, I know Keith. I've met Doyle, so I know the boys really well.
Well, let me play up on that. And I live in Melbourne, Australia, right down the bottom of Melbourne, Australia, an hour from the city, and I live online. But I did go to Sydney. I climbed the Harbour Bridge, and I also went to Rose Bay to Chocolate Johnny's chocolate shop, and we had lunch, and we had lots and lots of chocolate. And he talked about business, and he talked about all different kinds of things. I met his wife, I met the team, we had a latte, we went to the pub, and it's a combination, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I think it's also a great way for groups that some groups meet and they don't, they can't meet because of one thing or another, holidays or, many different reasons. Sometimes the facility is closed. Now there's no excuse for not meeting.
Right.
Also, just a little thing. I'm going to out Miss Ray in Connecticut. Wait 1 second. I came to the live stream and I said something to Miss Ray while she was online, and that's how we became friends. And I'm an extrovert, but I was like, I don't know, should I talk to her? But it's just as people were saying, it gave me a little bit. Well, I can talk to her. And now we're connected.
And now we're BFFs on Facebook. Yep.
Yeah, I think like we hear all the time that major part of the communication is the body language, right?
Mm-hmm.
And yes, we can convey a lot through video, but I think we still miss some. We're just showing, maybe 20% of our bodies here. Like we don't know what our hands are doing, or like, how you're sitting and slouching or sitting straight, stuff like that. I think that nothing beats in-person meetings, and as John said, I think these things will go in parallel for a while, and then there's place for both. I think.
Right.
Yeah.
Let me just pick up on what's happened here. Doyle has graciously agreed to drop out because we have more guests coming. Now, with StreamYard, we can only have 10 people at a time, so we may have to sort of mute each other. But anyway, Doyle's done that. And I really want to pick up on what Sajit's just said there. I have been, and Anne-Marie will attest to this, I have been to many, 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 many events in the city, which I, was okay with. But I found it really frustrating that I didn't get a recording, that I didn't get a reference point, that I didn't get any way of following up. And I've spoken at events really well. And I thought, well, did you get a recording of that? Can I use that? Can I put that on YouTube?
That's a really good point, actually.
I didn't record it. Well, what do you mean you didn't record it? I got dressed up. I had a shave. I bought a new shirt.
I showered. Not only that, but also when you go to an in real life networking event, you only have the ability to follow up with people who handed you their business card or business card. You get, so whereas on a Zoom networking meeting, you can always like screenshot that little participant section and go look them up on LinkedIn. I hope I'm not the only creepy person who does that. A lot of times you can also put your contact information in the chat there. So that encourages, that's like giving everyone in the room your business card. I feel like follow-up is a lot easier, and you're right about the recorded element. I think that's huge. I really feel like they're gonna, again, it's gonna be a balance.
That's a really good point, Christine, actually, because this is my second live show today, and the one I did this morning, they sent me the audio because it was StreamYard, of course, and they sent me the audio, and I extracted about 4.5 minutes to promote what the discussion was about, just, a little capsule. And so I think that's fantastic. So really good points on that.
Right.
When I've seen people, they're more casual now. I jumped on a call today with a vendor, and I had just come from the gym. So all I had to do is put on a decent looking shirt. They couldn't smell me, which was great. And once the guy looked at my hair, it was kind of messed up. He went, "Oh yeah, I'm heading to the gym too." So he put on his camera. And so I just found it was more authentic, that there's less pretense, because to Keith's point about having a press shirt and looking nice at a business event, I just feel that during this COVID period, people have relaxed and realized you're at home and there's noise in the background. The dogs bark, the kids come in.
I roll out of bed, no makeup, have my first cup of coffee with me when I hop on the networking event, because, I mean, if you're going to judge me for that.
Yeah, me too. I'm with you. I
also heard a statistic that the sale of pajama pants has gone up 7 times since COVID started.
You're wearing pants.
Yes, I bought 3 pairs. I bought 3 new pairs.
Actually, there was an HPE conference, like online. The annual conference was online. They sent us a box with these, actually, and pajamas and a few of these. Put this on and put the pajamas on and join the meetings.
Can I ask a question? Can I ask
Yeah,
a question
please.
here?
Yes.
How many of you have never had to go into an office in your career?
Never means
Never?
never.
In other words,
Never?
did you spend your career in a home office?
For last 12 years, yes.
I have
So-
never had an office to go to.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So for me, and I know I'm not alone with this. There's other people, but it's always interesting for me to. I have so many friends who are so new to this process, but are that far along in their life and in their career. It's just so interesting for me to see how it manifests and see what they like and see what they don't like. As I'm actually articulating this, I'm thinking, I should write a book about that.
Yeah.
How to go from pajamas to workout pants.
Gail, just on that, I've got a customer that is, quite high up in in the company. He said he actually thanks whoever gave everyone COVID because he finally got to stay home 3 days a week, work 2 days a week in the office, and got to see his daughter finally walk her first steps. He's never seen that with his other two children, and he went, "Do you know what? I think I'm going to change the company a little bit." So just stuff like that.
I think there's that realization that we can't actually, we don't actually need to go to the office as well. So the people who can work from home, why not? Obviously there's some stresses too, but why not?
My husband's company was already 3 days a week from home. People only went to the office 2 days, sometimes 3 days a week. And they've decided during this time that they're going to stop spending $22,000 a month on this space in Manhattan that they don't need.
Well, that's going to be another interesting play out with real estate, commercial real estate.
It's going to be big. It's big here in Australia at the moment. I know my son-in-law works at Canva. Canva have rent a building for 800 staff here in Sydney.
Wow.
I think just before COVID, they shut it down and it's hardly used now. Look how successful Canva is. They just got, 3.5 billion they're worth, doing really well. So, if you imagine owning a city block or a city building and you've got 10,000, people in there, and now they're saying, you know what, we don't really need that much space anymore. So, that part of the dynamics. And I think, I don't know for you guys, I love doing this. I've become more productive because I feel like you guys hold me more accountable as well. Like I need to be here. I need to do this. I need to do that. I've got no excuse because, I'm lucky. I'm in the chocolate shop every day. So
Yeah, exactly. That's my dream job, John. Come on.
Yeah.
I'll stop your door.
Hi, Erica.
Hi, Erica. Yeah, welcome.
Erica, are you on mute?
Just a quick update. Honestly, the live stream Dakota show, one of the purposes was to kind of test things out and see what happens and what doesn't happen when you do something, kind of thing. So we had our whole series on that. Today we actually found out that StreamYard, while it has added 10 people, it doesn't actually have a waiting room for our guests. So if you go beyond the 10 guests, we actually have to remove you not from the waiting room, but from the actual show. So Keith's kind of taken one for the team, and he took himself out so that Erica could come in and join us. So to get Keith back in, she disconnected.
Oh no!
We can play musical chairs.
It's a lot of testing. Yeah.
Go to the low.
Yeah, exactly. So if you want to take a bathroom break or whatever, just drop off, and we'll bring new people in, and hopefully Erica will join us. Oh, here she comes again.
But how many people are waiting?
I'll step out. I'll step out so you guys can.
Well, there's just Keith and Erica.
Okay.
That's the only one. So
I'll drop off soon. Actually, I think you guys continue.
It's crazy.
Hi, Erica. Welcome. Erica's all the way from Jamaica.
Hey,
Tell us a little bit about
nice
yourself.
to see you.
I think she's not able to
Someone's
listen.
got a really big delay.
Oh, sounds a bit like
I'm hearing an
a bit
echo.
of a delay. anyway, that's part of the purpose of this show was live streaming Dakota to see again what works, and sometimes we have to, publicly. Oh, there's Keith. He's in the background. He just sent us a comment, so he's watching us.
Oh yeah.
Hi, Keith.
I love that
we
guy.
miss you. Everybody wave to Keith.
He's our biggest fan.
Yeah, our biggest fan.
Hey, Keith.
He's our ringer. It's good to plant ringers in the audience.
Yeah, there you
Yes.
go. Yeah.
Good for engagement.
Fantastic. So while we sort through that, what else about live streaming has really connected with you?
Can I say I think it's great practice for people who understand the value of video but have been on the sidelines? I'm just going to go with what Keith just commented. People who have been sort of hesitating or delaying or procrastinating and not sure how to approach it. I think it's really great practice to do that. Just maybe your hair isn't perfect and the ums and the ahs and the breaths in between. I just still think that it moves its momentum to utilize the platform.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the one thing is for sure that it is a necessity for some people because their business model, like the way they used to do business, it was live. Like Broadway shows are going live streaming and stuff like that. They have to do it. I think for some people it's optional. Like they had other means to communicate, without showing our faces, but like just voice calls and stuff like that. But you can't watch Broadway show without seeing people, right? So for some it's a necessity, for some it's like nice to have, for some it's like more augmented sort of way to communicate, I guess.
One thing that I love about live, in conjunction with real life events, when we're able to do that again, is that because I'm an avid live streamer, I noticed after a period of time, I'd walk into a networking event and people would start coming up to me, who I didn't actually know, and they'd say, I feel like I know you because I watch you all the time.
Oh, yeah.
And my favorite thing to hear always is, you're exactly the way I thought you'd be, after they talked to me for a little while. That makes me happy.
Does that red screen follow you behind you as well?
I have a gentleman that I hire to hold it behind me. He follows me around all evening.
Very smart.
Perfect.
But it's really great because that really breaks a lot of the ice there at a real life event. And now I have to say, now that I'm just live streaming and being in virtual events and not seeing people in real life, of course, it's going to be very interesting to see how much more of that happens once we're in real life. People who are used to just sitting and watching, I feel like Doyle's saying something that we can't hear.
Yeah,
he's
got
just enjoying it.
Let me pick up on what you've just.
Back.
Let me just pick up on what you just said there, Christine. Look at what and we've got this on tape. Remember
What's
tapes?
tape?
Oh, yeah.
What's the tape?
A child of the 80s. I'm a child of the 80s. Gail and I both, like David Lee Roth and Van Halen, we know what tape is. Right?
Me too.
So,
I saw him at Madison Square Garden a bunch of years ago. Sorry, go ahead.
Did you?
yeah, we might as well jump. So what you said there, Christine, was unbelievable. Look what happened when you saw Chocolate Johnny.
Yeah.
Something happened, didn't it?
So
I've heard of him. I've seen him. He's there. Oh, yum.
I learned about him in real life first, though, because I learned about him when I was at Social Media and Marketing World, and people were like, "Oh, Chocolate Johnny this, Chocolate Johnny that, blah." But then I confirmed my own opinion that he's cool by following him online. It feeds into each other in a really nice way.
As long as I'm the same person in real life that I'm online, that's all I care about.
Sorry, go ahead,
Gail?
What I found is that people are remarkably nicer online. Remarkably.
Oh, I'm nicer in real life.
Really? That's
Yeah, online in this milieu, most definitely.
Well, you can fake it. If you can't be nice for, X minutes in front of a camera, you're kind of really hopeless. It's being nice in real life. That's the trick.
Right.
Because you're improvising. You're improvising in real life.
When you're chatting up a potential client or customer, you have to take an assessment of what it is you want them to know about you and try and push it through. Show it in some sort of way. if you, let's say, sell chocolate and you typically wear like a chef's hat, I would wear the chef's hat because that's how people remember you. Because at the end of the day, if you are wearing a chef's hat right now as a result of making chocolate, you are actually the one I would remember because you would be different than anybody else. And I'm just speaking
Yeah, of course.
just theoretically how this stuff works out.
Oompa Loompas, can you go get my chef's hat, please?
You should be eating chocolate this time and making just everybody drool as you're eating chocolate.
It's lunchtime, John. Come on.
So John needs a new app. Not Hey Google. It's Hey Oompa Loompa.
I think I need to tag Chad in my watch party and get him in here.
Yeah.
I don't care what else you wear, but don't forget to wear a smile.
Nice. Yeah.
Right.
That's so good.
Yeah.
So are we on the right track here that live streaming could be the new way that we do at least some of our events? I mean,
What I'm seeing now is, since I started the live streaming and I've been looking at it for business, is a huge shift to live stream shopping in live stream.
Ooh, yes.
Yeah, that's new.
Yes.
So I've been on a bunch of calls with vendors. There's a new product coming out. It'll be released this week where you're going to be able to have an influencer or yourself go through and talk about our product and show a product. So you'll be able to, Chocolate Johnny will be able to pour some chocolate into a mold and pop it out and pop it in his mouth and say, hey, if you'd like, would you like to buy this now? And while the video is streaming, you actually can go in and click on the stuff that he's got on the shelf and order it without leaving the video. And they're doing the same thing with clothes. I've been on a couple of them now where they do these drop parties and it's like, hey, here's this garment and this is who is made and this is the stitching and this is how many, and you can just go in, pick your size, pick your thing and order it all in live streaming. The new app that I'm looking at now that's going to just come out is going to let you archive that like a StreamYard video. So after the video's over, you'll still be able to share that and people can watch the recorded live stream and then still shop.
Nice.
What's the app?
You pardon?
Sorry, go ahead.
What's the name of the app?
It's put up by a company called Verb. I'm happy to share the details with you.
I have heard of this. 100%. Yeah, I have heard of it.
Yeah.
Do you like it?
See that.
Have you heard? You've tried it, Doug?
I haven't tried this product because it's brand new to them. I've looked at a number of other products, so I've been on calls,
similar to
a fair number of calls over the last couple of weeks with vendors in this space. And what I was surprised at was that they've been running this. This has existed for 2 years.
Yeah, there's I don't know if you guys know or have heard of Red Book. It's a Chinese app. There's another one called Taobao. These guys have influencers doing very similar. And I don't know how advanced their stuff is, like what Doug was saying, but they will have 1 million people watching these influencers put on clothes or eat chocolate or write with a pen, and these people will buy straight away. And they've seen a massive shift from these massive retail stores, reducing it to basically one and having their online live stream and, them standing there going, hi, look, it's this, and I drink fresh water and blah, 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 and you can buy it now and buy 10 at $49.95. It's absolutely becoming crazy over there. So I think I love the fact. I can't wait for it to happen for me. And I know a lot of people in the industry, not just chocolate, but in the service industry are going to be using it. And definitely with products. It's going to be a big game changer for retail stores.
I wonder if it's only going to be items, because I know that a lot of times with Facebook shops and Instagram shops, you can only sell items. That's actually a fairly recent change to the terms of service. You used to be able to put things like services in there to buy. You can't. I don't know if it was ever technically allowed, but you got to wonder if you're going to be able to have a live stream and be able to say, grab a spot in my course.
Yeah,
that would be
for a service-based business. Yeah,
yeah, I think
that's
definitely
crucial.
Yeah,
I think that definitely must happen and has to happen because there's such a big market there. They'd be crazy to miss out on that service industry. If you're a coach and you're offering, look, guys, come along, click on the link. My coaching's $3,000 for the week. I'm reducing it now for $2,000. Blah blah blah. Click on it. Let's go live, and we'll start talking right now so people can see. no, I think definitely service.
Yeah, they need to broaden it, because I also have friends who used to have in their Facebook shop, they'd put their affiliate links for products and things. But Facebook has really tightened it up, where you have to be the person shipping an item in order to list it in your Facebook shop. So I do hope they broaden that up and also include intangibles.
Well, how
So
else
here's the workaround on that.
Yeah.
You sell you write some kind of like ebook or something. You sell it for $450, and so you're selling it for $15, and everything else is your coaching services.
Interesting. That is an interesting workaround.
Yeah, it's a scale business. I think that the training or the education is being disrupted by the Udamis of the world and Coursera's of the world, and they're selling your course for $13.
Right.
And if you go to Stanford or bigger private universities, it can be like $50,000 or something. Actually, recently I saw a kind of meme kind of thing, right? It says live streaming prices for Netflix is like, $100 some a year, and then they listed all Disney Plus and all these, and it says Harvard like $53,000. They are streaming education actually, so it shouldn't be that expensive. I think the prices go down for services big time. They have to, because the cost of delivery goes down, right? COGS go down. You don't have to have a building. You don't have to, have and you can
But
scale.
they still have to maintain the building. They still have to pay the staff. So it's a really untenable situation.
In the transition
Keith is our
period, it's going to
spirit
be very
animal.
painful.
Yeah.
Keith is joining us from outside. He's our spirit animal. So sorry, Sajid.
And I'm fine. I in the transition period, I think it's going to be very painful for many businesses. And also another part is that I think there will be a lot of businesses which are at disadvantage. They are owners in a SMB. They don't know how to go live. They don't have the technical sort of chops, if you will. They can't find the right people to make them go live and stuff like that. So I think they will suffer in these times.
That's what Doyle and Keith's new course is all about, to help them out.
Right.
Yeah,
Just
exactly.
sign
There
up.
you
They'll
go. What a
take
great
away the pain
segue.
point.
Yeah, I've been sort of giving my 2 cents. Like it can be a huge business. Yeah, for them.
Yeah,
Yep.
no, that's cool. So how else can we use it for business then specifically? Like, look, that's our audience. Our audience is for business. It's not just for fun, although we love to use it for fun. But how does a business use live streaming? And actually, just before that, Erica, you're back. Can you hear us? Can we hear from you?
Yeah,
Oh,
I
there
keep
she
jumping
is.
out.
Oh, there
I
she
have
is.
no idea why, but this is live streaming. So.
Yeah.
Fantastic. We finally got you in. So tell us quickly a bit about yourself. Welcome.
What's up?
Oh,
That's
lost
a
one.
long delay.
seems to be a long delay here.
Oh, yeah.
Well, yeah. So how do we deal with business then? What's really important? How can we actually leverage live streaming for business? What do you guys
To
think?
humanize it.
Humanize it. Okay. So what do you mean, Christine? Can you be more specific?
I quote this all the time. I need it tattooed on my body, and yet it can't pull to my brain right now who actually said it. But people don't buy from brands. They buy from people who they know, like, and trust. And so by showing that human person who people can feel a connection with, that's going to make people feel a greater attachment to your brand, or a greater repulsion to your brand, depending. But it will definitely it gives a better flavor of your brand. It gives someone to connect to. It can give someone to root for. I especially encourage smaller businesses to show the people behind their business, because if someone's going to be spending money right now and they're looking into the eyes of someone whose business that they're helping to support, I feel like that just does something that nothing else can do.
Perfect. Wow. That's a long
Somebody
tattoo.
have their TV on.
Yeah, it's not me.
Yeah. We've got some
It's not
background.
me.
The audio.
You can
or
mute
background
yourself
noise.
if you're not talking.
Yeah, just
Yeah.
mute yourself.
Yeah. So I think the businesses have to use live streaming selectively. They have to prepare themselves before they do that. I have been on a few conferences, which few were like more like focused from the Europe, right? And I have a word of advice for my European sort of buddies that don't come in the suits or ties, and they feel like they're like this, stiff. and it just looks fake, and then most of the stuff was recorded. Even though it was live streamed, it's a recorded content. So when you're live streaming, you live stream. You don't live stream recorded content, right? And the one of the biggest problems with the live streaming we have talked in the past is that how do you interact with the audience? If you are not able to, you have to repeatedly every 5 minutes or so say that, hey, we'll get back to you. We can't answer your questions because people are spinning their wheels here and coming up with good questions, and you're not answering them, or you're not even mentioning their valuable input. So I think that's the one thing. Another thing is, because there's so much coming in those through the comments, we need some machine learning or AI kind of mechanism to take out only the good sort of comments, which we should be able to respond, not everything, because some can be bad comments or garbage or bad language and stuff like that. So we need better tools to go live going forward.
Well, it can be good to have a partner like Doyle and Keith do, and it can also be good to have a digital live stream producer. I know several people who are doing that for each other, where one person is really doing that behind the scenes and managing the comments and all that, and they're able to present that to the host so that the host can be present.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
That's a big issue. Like,
one of the
honestly,
things
when you're creating a show, go ahead, Anne-Marie.
One of the things that I've noticed, and this is speaking into what Subjeet was saying, is that now that LinkedIn is able to show comments, is to be able to integrate that. And one of the things that I've noticed is that people love to have you acknowledge them. And so how I'm using them is every week, once a week, I'll just do what I call a business influence training, and it'll be answering a question or something that I can see my community is struggling with. And then now what I'm finding is, just a gentle call to action. If you want to see previous trainings that I have done, I now keep them as units in a Facebook group. And so people are coming back to that, engaging with previous recordings that I've done, but I do live stream across the different platforms, and it's really starting to draw that crowd and bring people back, kind of in that nurturing sequence that I've got, calling them back to so it's really looking at where do I want to drive people to, what platforms do I want to really focus on. For me, it's now LinkedIn, and just keep engaging with the community, because they'll
do you sell? Like, do you actually sell on live streaming?
No, because, when I say sell, I mean, obviously in the group, one of the things that I will be doing once a quarter is we do our challenge. But in between that time, continuing to engage and provide real value so people get to know, like, and trust you. Yesterday, I was doing a call on customer research and kind of behind the scenes, how I'm using that. And so someone asked me a question about, how do I set up my podcast? Now, I didn't want to completely ignore her. So what I did was I brought the comment up and I said, that's a really great question. Brought that up. Then I brought up another link to say, go to my community and find all of the recordings that I've done there previously. And the reason I did that, I wanted to answer the question to validate that, but also for anyone else that's watching and the recording later, because it's everlasting lifespan, to draw them back to the community as well. And then once they're in that community, they will just naturally get picked up when I do another a challenge. And then at the end of the challenge, there's a pitch at the end for people who want to take it further.
Excellent. And Crystal, what do you think? How do you use it for business?
It's interesting because you really do have to have that co-host or producer. Producer is such a more high-end word than co-host, but when I do it, I always had to. I remember when I first started doing it, I just asked a friend to be my assistant, and that was incredibly helpful because, just like you said, it controlled all the comments, and then afterwards. So this is another thing. After you're done, all the comments, everyone who's joined, you can actually reach out and touch them, just to say thank you so much for joining. And then there's more engagement. So just about that know, like, and trust. We really need that more so online, because people will see, just like Subjeet said, that about take your smile with you, because if you're a nervous wreck, you really have to have your personality come through. So that's how I do it to connect with people. And so some of those people I met 10 years ago when I first started doing this. Oh my goodness, that's scary. But
Another thing I usually talk about is like I wish we could transcribe our live streams and video in general to text so it can be made searchable. So we can go back and search for all the shows where we mentioned some topic, AI or ML or whatever topic you're interested in, or what do you talk about. So I think the content curation is hard in live or in video. So I think that there are some tools being built right now.
There's Searchy subject. Have you heard of Searchy? Stu McLaren's team have created that, and you can search in courses, so videos, but also online as well. I transcribe all of my webinars that I do, and when I say webinars, it's using Zoom and live streaming into my groups, and I use Otter. But one of the things that I do say is we do not go through that, and because some of the language, I think some of the Otters don't understand the Kiwi/Aussie accent. So I don't make any. I just say, look, if something funny comes through, just deal with it. But we kind of do.
So what comes next then? What do you think comes next in terms of live streaming? Like, look, honestly, it's been around for a while. It hasn't been, it's been kind of glitchy. We've had webinars, which, technically, I guess that's a form of live streaming. There are some technical issues, but what do you think is coming next? Like, how can we actually leverage this so that it doesn't become just a platform for selling your stuff, right? It becomes more of a human experience.
I think Facebook letting people bring you onto your live streams again is going to be a huge thing. I know on Instagram it's kind of great. A friend of mine went live on Instagram the other day, and I commented, and he said, "Hey, want to join?" And I said, "Sure," and I just hopped right in. And so I think that can be a really fun way of really literally bringing your audience into your live stream.
So making it really personal.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. What else? Who else? Gail.
Well, business is personal.
Yeah.
The way you get people to buy your stuff, you talk about people don't buy from people. People, see, the way I see it is you got to have a story. So people don't, what they do is they buy the experience of you.
Yeah.
And so it's like, oh, I got this ring. This woman was in my Wyoming. She almost got eaten by a bison, and the cops came, and the bison ran away. And yeah, you don't remember anything else in your life other than that one story. So, so people, what they do. So the question always is, how do I get people to emotionally invest in me? Whatever it is you have to tell them, you have to make it about them.
100%.
That's how you get people to emotionally invest in you. So if you are doing a live stream, and so it's whoever it's targeted to, whether it's millennials or dentists in Southern California, you make it about them. And so you do your research and so on, what their biggest problem is, what motivates them, why do they buy, what do they buy, what do they not buy? And then it's like, it's really what it is. It's customization. It's really, really what it is. It's sales. It's 1950s sales is really what it is. It's like,
more like
hey,
TV.
lady, come on up here. You look like you're hungry. Let me give you something to eat.
So it's live 24 hours.
I think it's TV. Actually, it's TV democratized in a way that you can be your anchor. You can put up a show, you can entertain people, you can educate people. So I think it's TV democratized. And what that does is it makes like we used to watch only a few people, they're stars or they're known in their field. And there were fixed paths, and you have to please somebody and go to a publishing house or whatever. Like you have to go to LA to be with media people. Like now you can do it from anywhere, from a small village in India, Africa, whatever, right? So and we have found so many stars through YouTube and stuff like that, which was live, right? Like
and the smart ones have found a way to actually create a business.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
All the filters are gone. Anybody, you get to be the star of the me show, starring me, or in this case, you. And if people find you and they want to watch you and they want to follow you, that's the whole idea. You don't have to go through this whole song and dance a la of a filter of a television network or a cable network or a studio.
It really gives us
And
that power.
this started happening really early, like 20 years ago, with the record labels, with indie music.
Yeah.
And then in the 90s, it was indie films.
Right.
So they did away with all of those filters. And
So this is kind of like indie TV then.
Yeah.
This is sort of like
There's
indie
Chad.
films. Yeah, it's kind of like my TV.
There's Chad.
Starring me.
Right.
Yeah,
There's room in the call if you want to come in, Chad. We've got
If
number 10.
I actually DM'd Chad, I was like, you have to come on. We were talking about.
Please. Yes, let me pick up on what's happened in this call since I've been watching, but also been commenting. There's a really great movie called Begin Again. This is a really great movie that indicates exactly what's happening right here. Keira Knightley plays a guitarist. I'm not sure if she can play guitar, but she plays a guitarist. And she goes to a record label and says, yeah, no worries. We'll record your album and we'll do all the work and we'll give you $1 for every time you sell an album.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they're my songs. I mean, why are you doing all the work and why should I get $1? So anyway, another guy, played by Mark Ruffalo, says, okay, look, I'll record it. I'll record it. And they got CeeLo to finance it. And he says, look, let's just record this on a balcony in New York and we'll record it. And we'll put it online. And we'll sell it for $10. Sold 3 million copies because CeeLo got involved. It's a true story. It's made in Hollywood. It's got to be true, right? But the point is that here's a girl who plays guitar and went to a record company and they said, no, well, look, if you really want to do what we want you to do, you've got to do this and you've got to do that and you get 1% of the profit.
Okay,
and she goes,
why do people...
Oh, we've lost you.
I'm breaking. Gail.
She's going to make a really important point there.
Yeah.
Oh.
Do you want to try
You're on the
again,
edge of
Gail?
our seat, Gail?
You want to jump back in? What did you
Try
say?
again.
We lost you.
She's right.
No, just try again.
So you say, well, why don't more people do that? Why do they even entertain the idea of these hideous filters? Because there's a certain amount of bravery, involved in all of this. This is not just about live streaming.
Yeah.
This is life streaming.
Yeah.
This is who you are, what you're selling, what your passion is, what is it that you want the world to know about you, and what are your footprints about? What are you going to leave them? What are you going to give them? How are you going to what their problems are and how you're going to solve them for them? This is not live streaming. This is life streaming.
Love it.
And I've always said
Greater.
I thought you said live screaming.
I've always said that this is an extension.
Some people are doing live streaming. Our president does that on Twitter.
Yeah. Oh.
We won't go there.
That's bullshit.
No, that's
Yeah, right. Tell me.
Enough said.
He was on
I've
fire
always
today.
said that live streaming. Oh my God, I was going to say screaming. Live streaming is like public speaking, which 95% of people really are fearful of. And this is even more because people can see us very close up. And so, it's even more scary. So it can be screaming, because I'm just not going to do that again. No way. Everybody saw me. And that's a very scary thing. That's a very scary thing.
Although,
so have some balls.
Although, as a very good speaker, I know who also is a prominent live streamer, told me, he said, when you're up there on stage, keep in mind, people are not at a NASCAR race. They're not rooting for you to fail.
Right.
They're rooting for you to succeed.
They want you to.
Yeah.
And that's true in live streaming as well.
Yes.
If you say one thing that comes out of your mouth that happens to be about them, they will follow you out to the front of the hotel and run next to your car until you get to the driveway onto the freeway.
Well, that's terrifying. Now I don't want to live stream anymore.
You spoke to them directly. And people want to be acknowledged.
Mm-hmm.
They can do that figuratively. Let's keep it figurative.
That's
what
I
seen and heard, right?
Unless that's your business, though.
This stuff is personal. People are watching us. They haven't seen another human being, actually in their home. They haven't seen it. I did a picnic with somebody 2 weeks ago in their yard. I hadn't had a meal with another person other than me since late February.
Yeah.
And so it's personal. You know, they're sitting there looking like a schlemiel, and it's okay. You can't see them. It's all good. But it's personal because you're in their house, like TV. You're in their house,
Mm-hmm.
And you're right here. It's speech distance. It's conversational distance.
That's right.
They've actually done neurological studies talking about that, about how we react. Our whole chemistry changes when someone is within a certain proximity to us.
Yeah.
And live streaming replicates that.
Absolutely.
It's
And you can
simple
see their
things.
eyes too. That's another thing. To
Sometimes
see
it's
somebody's eyes is
exactly.
engaging.
Sometimes it's simple things like just looking at the camera.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Or just indicating in some way where it's say, and I know you will love this. I know you will love this. I know I don't know you, but I could just tell you will love this.
Mm-hmm.
You bust right through this whole filter here,
Mm-hmm.
and you're in their house with them because you're talking to them.
Mm-hmm.
It's like reality TV. It's like people think that
Yeah.
Trump's a real freaking person. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They
Yeah, I
think
think-
he's a good guy.
I think they're different
You know?
formats. Like if you're educating, then it's a different way of conveying that information. If you're entertaining, it's different. If it's you're putting up a show and people are just watching it, it's a different sort of like there are different kind of styles of like being live.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just familiar with talking about technology and education / validating ideas. So it would be nice for us to know from all of you, like how do you leverage live streaming, like each of you, right? So
Can I just add something to what you're saying?
Mhm.
You know, for years and hundreds of years, the definition of media was radio. Well, not hundreds, but radio, TV, print, billboards, all that kind of stuff. In 2010, I redefined media. So media is anyone or anything that has the ability to take your message and move it forward.
Mm-hmm.
This is media. We are just as powerful and just as effective as CNN, ABC, BBC.
Mm-hmm.
It's a completely level playing field.
Mm-hmm.
You forgot Fox.
And the thing is, it's like the whole indie thing that we were talking about earlier. If these are just actually envelopes. If you don't have something to put in it that's better than anybody else putting in their envelopes, you could get eaten up by yesterday's monster.
Let me just pick up on what you've just said there. Gail, let me just pick right up on what you've said there. I love this analogy of the envelope, and I want to throw to Anne-Marie because I know she's been a bit silent. She's got so much cool stuff to say.
I'm shivering. I'm so cold.
I know, it's so cold here, isn't it? So,
You can have some of our New York heat. Take it.
please.
It was
So,
Take the humidity too.
So Gail said that media is just an envelope. You know, there's no point broadcasting if you've got nothing to say. And Anne-Marie talks about this all the time, and this is exactly what our live streaming challenge is all about, and I'll throw to Doyle in a minute to talk about that. But Anne-Marie, why is it so important to have the content first before you even talk about the new mic you bought, or, you know, because you've got the new mic, you've got the new Rode mic in view. But that's not important if you've got nothing to say, is it?
Yeah, and look, it just depends too on the individual. I was just saying this morning to some clients, they have got years, decades of experience, and now they want to bring that out into a podcast. So you need to be really clear on the content and where you want to really become known as that thought leader, because you just don't want to get online and start rambling. So you want to have, you know, clear themes and clear topics that you want to talk about. If you're starting at the beginning of your career and you're still trying to nut out what that is, you can start those conversations. But I love the way Subjeet said, you know, you have to really understand your audience. What's the purpose of this piece of content? Maybe there is some behind the scenes. I mean, I don't know about you, but I love behind the scenes. How do people make their stuff? I mean, I'm sure Chocolate Johnny, you know, behind the scenes on how you make certain chocolates and stuff like that. People would love that kind of thing. So
They
you
do.
understand, you know, what's the piece of content, what's the purpose, and as a business owner, what's the outcome? And sometimes that outcome is just entertaining and engaging with your audience.
Anne-Marie, going back to those behind the scenes, that is my favourite live streams. And it's a bit of funny thing how you're saying content. I just literally get the staff, my team or me to pick up the phone, hit the broadcast button and just go behind the scenes. They, for us, are usually the biggest viewership. I make the most money from them. And I think that shows them how raw and real we are at Perfection Chocolates. They become part of the family. They get immersed into the product. They get immersed into the heritage and the family, the longevity of the business. You know, we're 81 years old. But going back to then, content for me is I specifically have my seasons where we go, okay, Easter, Christmas, Valentine's Day, Mother's Day, Father's Day. Right, we're planning it. This is what we're doing. This is how we're nutting it out. This is how we're going to do it. This is the giveaway. Bang, 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 bang. So it really depends on your business and how you do it. But I think people love that behind the scenes.
I tell clients that all the time. I teach small business owners how to do their own social media, and I tell them all the time, I said, scrappy is a superpower. You don't have to wait for perfect production value, because the fact is, something that's a little more real, behind the scenes content, you know, just hopping on live on your smartphone, something like that, that really connects with people a lot more a lot of the time. It doesn't mean there isn't a place for those beautiful, perfect visuals, but it does mean that people, more raw content really gets that connection factor because it breaks through that selling veneer in a way that.
Now, what do you mean when you say raw content?
I mean that it's not super planned out necessarily. It's not, you know, you didn't have a professional crew come in to film it or photograph it. It means you're just kind of there in the moment, showing them the sort of unfiltered, even though it of course is, I mean, you're controlling everything you choose to put out there, right? But it's a little less removed from reality, and people
so that's what I was talking about, the European folks, right? So they come very polished, and they come to that sort
people
of
don't trust that
stage where it's like kind of like staged or pre-recorded. Some of that may not be pre-recorded, but it looks like it. The set is like that, polished, and on the lights and all that stuff. So I think like they don't have ooms and ahs. Like I don't know how they do that. But
even Edelman Trust Barometer, I think it was in either 2018 or 19. A lot of the survey results came back. Anything too polished, and we don't trust you because we kind of think it's media. What are you trying to get over us? So that's Christine, what you're saying in subject. Yeah, authentic.
Well, can I butt in there and ask Gail to respond to that? Because Gail has come from and she said this to me specifically, I love it when someone mics me up. It's great when someone comes to the room and makes sure that I've done a sound check and my hair looks nice. How, Gail, do you feel when you hear that now live streaming is the new normal and that people don't want polish? Does that ring true, or do you think that we're morphing into that? Is it a fair comment?
Yeah, you know why? Because it's reality TV.
Okay. Yeah.
Anything you see through a screen is infotainment. It's reality TV. I mean, porn is not really great to look at, okay? But people flock to it. What I'm saying is people don't really care about production value because they really don't understand it. If they did, every live stream we were on would be perfectly lit and everybody would look terrific. It's reality television is what it is.
Well, you all look terrific.
And it doesn't mean that we're joining a club. It means that's how we've been groomed.
Yeah.
It's like outtakes. It's like the cookies at the end of the DVD. Everybody wants to know, where was that? What did she mean by that? You know, they give you all these little things at the end of it's reality TV.
Brilliant.
Or when they do it at the end of movies where they do all the outtakes where they didn't remember their lines or whatever.
They're the best. They're the
And
best.
that
Or
becomes,
paparazzi shots versus a photo shoot.
becomes even more popular than the movie itself. Reality TV, you know what? It's a guilty pleasure, and you shouldn't go away from it. You shouldn't think, well, that's not what I'm about. That's not what I'm doing. I'm doing a business.
Very true.
You don't have a choice, because I, as a viewer, am already groomed this way. Did I sign up for it? No. It's just how millions and billions of people react to a screen. So I say, if they're hungry, give them something to eat. Give them something to chew
Give them
on.
some chocolate.
And let them buy something from you.
Yeah, I think there's a new trend actually. Go ahead. Sorry.
You go.
Go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say just something that I thought of, as hearing you speak about authenticity. There's certain things that we need to do, and I'm reminded of something that I read was that someone will not miss the Zoom calls where they're staring up people's noses. And I thought, how can you be staring up people's noses? And then I realized there are some computers, and I didn't know this, and I don't know if you know this, that have their cameras actually at the bottom of their screen.
Wow.
And so there's certain things, because you do not want to watch a whole live stream looking up someone's nostrils. So there's certain things that you want to have in place.
There's a market in there. There's a market in there. Nasal trimming device.
If you're selling that,
$9.95. We're selling them right now. Just click here.
Yeah.
Well, when you do a live stream, do you ever set your shot before you even press the link to go on?
Oh, I have a whole setup here. I have my DSLR camera with the CamLink cable to connect it to my computer, and I have a ring light on me, and I have a microphone next to me. I have my.
We got to do a
Yeti.
show on that. We got to do a show on that, Christine.
Yeah, anytime.
You have to.
Yeah, you have
to. That's you have to be responsible for who's paying the bills. And the one who's paying the bills is this concept of reality TV.
You know what I really want to pick up on? I really want to pick up on the fact that anyone can do it if they've got the chutzpah.
All you need is a smartphone.
I think that's a good thing and that's a bad thing. Sorry to cut you off, Keith.
Yeah, it doesn't mean they should if they have.
But what I really want to pick up on, and what the challenge is all about, and I'm so proud of what's happening. I know you guys know this, but the people watching this call, in April of 2020, we were told we couldn't leave the house unless we wanted to get some exercise or get something from the shop. And that was April, like 16 weeks ago, and we're still here. So what Doyle and I decided was we're going to just try every single live streaming product out there, and we're going to test it on the fly. The good, the bad, and the ugly, and there's been some ugly. But the point is, the really important point is that anyone can do this, but Christine has a DSLR, a digital SLR camera on a tripod with a light. That makes her version of live streaming better than someone who's got a laptop with a webcam at the bottom and nasal hair filling the shot.
I still go live from my phone sometimes, though.
Yeah,
I do.
that's what
I go live with no makeup from my front porch on my phone.
Oh, you do?
That's what makes it accessible to everybody, is that everybody can use it, right?
So
you don't
we're
have
all
to
in
be
different...
Hollywood. I know you live under the Hollywood sign, Gail, but we don't all have to come from Hollywood. We can actually produce a show from our office, from our living room, from the,
from the
gym. All
My
that
scrappy
kind of
ones do better sometimes. Just talking at the
wow.
at my phone with no makeup on. People love that. Once I came on and did an IGTV from the park, and I was talking about how weirded out I was to be outside for one of the first times during all of this, and that went great.
Yeah, but does that weird you
I mean,
out when
these
you
relate,
are
aren't
in
they,
public
to you?
holding
That's
up
the
your
whole
phone?
thing.
I think what's great about these things is that we make them purposeful
Yeah, we make it purposeful.
decisions.
Right.
That
One- I
one day
wanna
we're
pick-
gonna,
I wanna-
you know, I'm gonna talk about this, and I'm not gonna have makeup on, and I'm just gonna let it all hang out, and then I'm gonna do. These are just tricks you have in your bag. of your bag of tricks, and you're okay with however it is they want to do it.
It's more about valuing your audience's time and attention. It's more about making sure that you're capturing their attention for a reason. And as long as you're doing that, they don't care what you look like.
Right.
Wow.
You're making it about them. That's
Yeah.
that's why. Making it about them.
I think the thing I really want to pick up with Christine here is the idea that Doyle and I, and Anne-Marie and I have done this many times, is I like to stat everything. I like to say, I like to do the experiments. Did it go better when I walked around the chocolate shop with Chocolate Johnny with a phone in my hand, or did it go better when I had 8 people on the call on StreamYard and it took me a week to set up and they're all looking gorgeous? So what works? It's no point going to all this trouble if it doesn't work. And there's no point stopping the low-tech stuff if it does work. And we have to... What are your thoughts on that, Doyle? Have you done some tests on this? Have you got some thoughts on this?
On using it as an app, you mean, or
No, on the idea of testing whether the low-tech works better than the high-tech.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And that's sort of one of the ingredients in this whole process of live streaming, is that you really need to look at where can you start. We know it's hard to press that button, but what I found is that a lot of people just distract themselves with, oh, I've got to go find the best mic, or I've got to go find the best webcam, or I've got to go find the best green screen or whatever. So they spend, months and months and months researching to kind of get it to that level that you haven't even produced content. You don't even know if you have a show, right? Like, pick up your mobile phone headset and use that and get started. Create some content, create a stream of content. And
you can always step up your game later, but content first, absolutely.
Yeah.
And I think that's another kind of veil between, you saying, well, I'm going to do it, and actually doing it. I'm a great list maker, and I have like a list of about, I think, 12 or 15 things when I do stuff for YouTube, as opposed to when I do Facebook Live or Instagram Live. And you're right. Sometimes I just pick up the phone. It's like, wait, is my hair combed? Are my glasses clean? And that's like enough. And then is my arm long enough? And there's no wind. And then you just do it. And sometimes this is what I've done too. I've said to the audience, look, I'm trying this. It sounds like it's something good for me. You tell me, and then I go through whatever I'm going to go through. And I get a lot of feedback from people.
I feel like different content that's going to different people goes in a different envelope. Absolutely. So this setup that I'm in now with, my camera and all of that stuff, I do that for my weekly live stream interview show that I do. And that is a show that I'm presenting as a series. So I want that to feel more professional. But at the same time, sometimes what I want to convey is a little bit more humanness. Sometimes I want to convey kind of thoughts that aren't tips on social media. It's just stuff to kind of resonate with as a person. I was in an airport on my way back from a conference once, and I was feeling kind of weird and insecure. I had kind of a weird time. There was some weird personal politics going on. And I just kind of went live and talked about those feelings of insecurity and weirdness, and my ultimate conclusion that I shouldn't care what people I don't really like think of me. I should care what the people I like think of me. And when I got off the plane, it had a ton of views. I was like, this is the crappiest video ever. I was exhausted in an airport with no makeup, no coffee, but it doesn't mean I'm going to do all my videos that way. It doesn't mean that that's how I'm going to start doing my show, because it's a different message being given to a different audience in a sense.
Wow. And I felt you really felt what you said too when you said that.
Yeah, we can all be weird on our own way.
Yeah.
Go ahead,
you don't want to be monotonic, and there should be a monotonic kind of, not a speaking ways, but you shouldn't be appearing all the time same way. Then it becomes boring, I think. I want to put your brain, people, like all of you. I have this fear of not going live, because I go live when somebody invites me to go live most of the time, and I have tested. Again, I have gone live a few times, but only to test my live setup. Every time I say I'm testing my live setup and all that stuff. So I always think that it's imposter syndrome. Like if I talk about cloud, which I practiced for the last 12 years or so, is it good enough? And you question yourself all the time. So how do you overcome that fear?
Put a date on the calendar.
Just do it
within the next week, and do it.
Yeah, really. Just do it. So Jake, just let me tell you, You are good enough. You are
Yeah.
worthy enough. Now just go do it.
You're smart.
Sergeant,
Amazing.
Don't
Yeah.
have people like you.
push the start broadcast button. Someone's
Mhm.
going to watch you. Someone's going to listen. You may have 0 hearts, 0 likes, 0 followers. You have a story, and we need to hear it.
And the good thing is when you're starting, your audience is really small. So a lot of people won't get to see you messed up. Your audience will grow as your skills grow. And also don't compare yourself to the people who are really good at it. Compare yourself to all those people who are out there not doing it, because there's way more of them.
Yeah. You've
Well,
just
let me
got
ask
to
you
start.
something.
You just start.
Let's
Remember,
say-
Keith, our very first episodes of our podcast. My God. Just
So let's say this fear is absolutely spot on. You have all the reason in the world to be as fearful as you are.
Let's say you
What is the
suck and you're stupid. No, sorry.
What is the worst thing that could happen?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Keith will share it to his 1 million followers, and
Right.
everyone will see it here.
You can always
What-
delete it.
Seriously, what is the worst thing that could happen? Because I think that you're depriving the world from what it is you have to give them, what you have to offer them.
Yeah, I've found.
Hold yourself,
mo-
which might be real.
yeah, it
Yeah,
is
that's
totally
unfair.
real.
You've got all that. It's so unfair. You've got all this information, and I'm dying to learn from you. Push the button.
Oops, I'm losing.
Look, let me
I guess-
pick up on another idea. I want to pick up on another idea. I'm going to flip this. Because in Australia we have this phrase, just suck it up. It's not an Australian phrase. Everyone's fucking saying it to me every single day. Just suck it up, Keith. Just suck it up. You're at home, just suck it up. Not everyone can suck it up. Not everyone's up for the tough love story, right? Not everyone's up for the just do it story. So
Yeah.
here's my story. I recorded everything on Zoom and I sent it to YouTube, and it's very safe. I record it, I pre-record it, I fix it, I edit it, I send it to YouTube. No one watches it, right? So I then started to push record, and suddenly 1,200 people watched the same content in a different format. I practiced on Zoom. I did a show called, Johnny was my first guest, Be Seen, Be Real. You know, July 2018. I pre-recorded it on Zoom. It was safe. I had a banner. I had subtitles. Everything was in its place. I edited out all the bullshit. And no one watched it. Then I put the same content on StreamYard, and you get like 100 views in 1 hour and 1,200 views overnight. It's the same content. It's just I had to have the courage.
Because it's real.
I had to have the courage to push record.
And
And
I love
guess
what
what?
Chad
I
is
just
saying.
dropped the F-bomb. I'm so embarrassed. I just dropped the F-bomb on live TV.
We can't edit that out, Keith. I'm sorry.
And we can't edit that out.
It's going to be there forever.
That's
But
right.
the
That's a
point,
good comment about what you watch on live TV. If we could
Yeah.
take a peek at that, because it's
Yeah,
a
there
good
we go.
point.
It's a big comment. What do you watch on live TV? Right?
Now, what do you watch live? Why are you giving people a reason to tune in live?
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, it's quite.
I think it's
amazing. So-
authenticity. It's the real timeness of the content.
It is.
I think it's that.
One of the huge motivating factors that I've talked a lot about with Keith is being able to schedule it, right? If you pick a time and day, then you kind of commit yourself to that. So it's kind of one of those motivating factors that
Right.
it's like, oh, if I don't show up, I'm letting my audience down kind of thing. So I need to get up. I need to get dressed. I need to go, produce this show because I know it's coming. I said it was coming 7 days ago. We put up, the Facebook link to say, hey, I'm going live. Come join my show. So I've committed to that. So for me, it's a huge motivator. It's like, yeah, I've got to do this, right? So then you look at it, how can you schedule a show? And we were talking about, doing a series, doing themes, doing that sort of thing. And that's kind of how we developed Live Streaming Decoded. Is like, let's just do a season. Like, let's make it like TV. We make a small little piece, and then away we go with how we actually produce that. We give ourselves a little bit of a break after it, and then we continue with a separate theme or whatever based on what we talked about.
And
So-
something very new, Facebook Creator Studio, which they're developing the heck out of it, so it's super buggy right now. But you can actually create a series in there now. So
Perfect,
basically, the
yeah.
functionality of what used to be Facebook Watch, which was very competitive to get into, now everybody can, and you can just go and create a series. I'm going to be starting that in September. Like it's a
Okay.
great thing to be able to do.
Fantastic.
And that's live now. That's coming out. That's out now.
Yep.
Yeah,
go
I
to
see the
Facebook
studio.
Creator Studio. Go to
Yeah.
business.facebook.com/creator studio.
Got it.
Perfect. No, that's an excellent tip.
Mhm.
That's cool.
All right, and we lost Keith again, but that's
It
okay.
gives you a little show page.
Yeah.
Nice.
Well, where's Chad from? Chad, where are you from?
He's in Texas.
Texas. Well,
Yes.
can somebody send him the StreamYard link? don't
I
have
just
him.
DM'd him.
Oh, did you? Okay. All
Yeah.
right, cool. Maybe we'll get you on the show for a few minutes, and then we have been going for like an hour 20, so I'm not sure. Maybe do a time check. If anybody needs to leave, feel free to drop off.
I'm gonna bow out soon too.
I'm
I'm just
gonna
gonna
get
wait till
out.
Chad joins if he
Okay.
does.
I,
All
I
right,
think
cool.
I think there's another side to which I just want to mention before I leave is that another side to the live streaming or having access to be able to go live. Anybody can go live, right? Is that the spread of fake news or bad, sort of publicity, if you will, and the other countries interfering in the other countries' elections through these mediums. There's a lot of there are a lot of side effects. Right? I always say that the technology is great for masses, like they can use it for good, but it's as good as for bad people.
Yeah.
Actually, maybe even they can be even more clever than the good people to use it in a bad way. So
Welcome,
I think
Chad.
that we need to
Yeah.
keep that in mind.
Yeah,
Hey
thank
Chad,
you so
how are
much.
you?
Yeah,
What's going on,
welcome.
guys?
Chad's good people. He uses the power of video for good and not evil. Usually.
For good. I owe it all to John.
John, cool.
Yep.
Well,
He
how
gave
do
me
you
my
guys, how
big
have you
break.
guys connected?
I'm the Oompa Loompa who picked him up at the airport.
Oh,
And it went viral around the world, and still does. I get messages, emails, reporters. I still get people saying, because what happened is there's a one photo with Chad dressed up as an Oompa Loompa. I mean, this guy went full hog, the lot. He looked amazing, and all he says is Chocolate Johnny. And one of the Board Panda picked it up, the news picked it up, and I just get constantly people ringing me going, "Are you Chocolate Johnny?" Because I know it must be you, because it says something about Australian chocolate factory. I went, yeah.
And that's good branding for you.
That's true.
It was the best thing for me, and actually the best thing for him, because he's then gone on and done even more and greater things. And yeah, look at him now; he's amazing.
Yeah, it's been an interesting thing to do that one little deal. Now we go to conferences. If people know I'm there, they won't tell me when they're going to show up because they're scared we're going to pick them up in some crazy outfit at the airport.
Oh, I'd love it, and that's why I'll never get one.
Oh, that's fantastic. And that's,
It'll
if I
happen.
may, that's a huge part of what we're doing here too. Is like we're connecting people around the world, right? I
Yeah.
mean, to me, that's fascinating. Yesterday, I was on a conference with somebody from London, somebody from San Francisco, myself in Australia, and a few other people around the world. And it's like, where else could you do that? When else could you do that, right? And just looking at how do we build that community from that. So,
And especially right now, seeing the things people are
Yeah.
doing with virtual conferences, some of them aren't doing it that effectively because they're not recognizing the things that are special about a live event. But the ones who are doing it well are really going to do well going forward, because I think that some degree of that is here to stay.
Right.
yeah.
Yeah, Google was going to do their annual conference live, cloud conference, right? And then they canceled it. They're going to do it 9 weeks sort of series because they learned some lessons from SAP and some others. Like they went before them, and it was a disaster.
Yeah, it can be done well or it can be done badly, but it can't
Right.
just be, here, take this. You have to have some degree of interaction. You have to really encourage people to have some sort of experience. And that's hard to do.
Well, look, let me pick up on this because Anne-Marie and I have both gone to events in the city, and I've said to the person, can you record this? Because I want to watch the other speakers again. They speak well. And you don't have time to take notes, and you want to be able to hear all of the speakers. I can just imagine how much content is at Social Media Marketing World. You can't possibly see it all.
We get
So
the
then-
recordings after.
We do get the recordings. See, there is a facility for that. Now, eventually we will have live events, and they are great. But I think that StreamYard with 10 people and 8 hours continuous recording for $50 a month is like such a deal breaker. We can record the whole thing. People can drop in, drop out. I've even dropped in and dropped out to make room for Erica. She's having some technical trouble. Linda's having a glass of wine.
I texted Linda. She's not coming back. She's done.
Linda won't be coming back.
And Doug's in Vancouver. He's dropped out. And then this idea of having 10 people circulating, it has to be value for the consumer. But it's a new variation, what a friend of mine calls a hybrid. Eventually, the events will come back, and we'll be able to go into the city and hug people. But at the moment, we can't.
Well, you can
audience dramatically. I spoke at Social Media Day San Diego a couple weeks ago, right?
Okay.
And it was, mostly pre-recorded, and then we did live Q&As or whatever. But the thing that made it different, that made it actually the most fun for me, because they brought a piece of that conference back, was they put us into networking rooms in between sessions, and it was random. You'd all show up in this big room, Zoom room, and then they would just assign you to these different networking rooms, and you met and hung out with other people for 15, 20 minutes or whatever. And so you still had that feel of, okay, I'm at this conference, not so much for the information, because look, I can Google it and I can watch a YouTube video and I can get what you're speaking about for free tomorrow. But what I can't get for free tomorrow are the connections that I can make at the conference. And so for the digital conferences to really have value, there has to be a way for me to connect and network with people.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Can you pick up on that, Chad? Because Anne-Marie and I have both had this chat. That's not the way that's not the way I process the world. Is the networking the point?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
There's much more value to me in the connections. I always tell myself every year I go to San Diego, my wife and I go together, and she knows my goal. If I can leave with some new connections, but at least one friendship that's deeper, because I got to spend time with you for real, then it was worth every penny. I can listen to the information later. I don't need all of the information that's there. And most of the topics, I can Google it and watch a YouTube video about it later if I want to.
Possibly even from the same speaker.
More than likely from the same speaker.
Can we pick up on this? Can we get around the room? Is this a common theme? Am I the only one in the world that doesn't get that?
Doesn't get what?
That people go to conferences to network.
That what?
Well,
That
you see,
people
I
go
don't
to
go.
conference.
Yeah, to me, it's overwhelming. That's why I don't go to a lot of conferences, because all those people, people don't believe it, I'm naturally shy, which is why I do my podcast, because I get to hang out with awesome people and I get to know them better. And that's why I do. But to events, to me, it would just seem overwhelming, which is why I love the online space, because now I get to hang out with awesome people such as you and get to know them better. But for me, networking face to face, no, we will never.
And can we do this online? Can you do this online, Chad? Was that Zoom room a sort of a pseudo version of what you would have got in live?
Yeah, so the Zoom, I think it's the webinar level that you have to be at, and there's a new program, a new program, Remo, I think is what it's called.
Yeah,
where they let you make these breakout tables or whatever, and they can even be sponsored tables too. But definitely the San Diego, I don't know if I could tell you what anybody spoke about, but I made new connections, right?
Yeah.
And
So were they using Zoom chat? Were they using Zoom?
Correct.
Or
yeah,
Remo?
Zoom. They were using Zoom. Remo's kind of this newer thing that's coming now, but Zoom has the ability to let you create these breakout rooms within their webinar system or whatever. Wow. I'll tell you this, John and I were both at Social Media Day in Denver 3 years ago. John, tell me one of the talks you remember.
None.
What do you remember?
It's funny you should say that. I love speaking, and I love getting up on stage, and I love getting off that stage and saying g'day to everyone. That to me is the most important thing, and that, like Chad said, I mean, I love that. Connecting, sitting down, having that coffee in the back room, walking down and someone pulling me up and saying, hey, can I talk to you? I go, yeah, let's have a chat. And they're like, oh, wow, you don't mind? No, what do you want to talk about? How can I help you? What can I do? Bring it, everyone. Come on, let's huddle around. Let's chat. So
Yeah, I became good friends with Andrea Vall, Aaron Tell, Joel Palm. At that, they've referred business to me, and then of course you can't put a price on the value of the interaction that I had with John at the airport. Those are the things I remember. Those are the things that had the most value to me in the long run, and I don't remember anything that anybody spoke about at all. Sorry, John.
No, it's okay.
No,
it's okay. I mean, I think going back to that connecting, like I said this before, I love this, and this is as Gail said, this is the new reality TV, which is actually real. This is real reality TV. But eventually one day, and I've met Christine, and I've met Chad, and I've met Keith and Doyle, and hopefully I'll meet Anne-Marie, because she's only in Melbourne. They're in lockdown, unfortunately, and Gail, and one day we'll meet and we'll sit down and go, hey, remember we did that thing, Decoded Life? How you going? What happened? Oh my God, it was so good.
Exactly.
And give me a hug and get some chocolate and
exactly.
No,
and Anne-Marie, we interrupted you. Go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, no, what I was going to say, it is true. I mean, I remember going to a networking event. Actually, it was a 2-day conference, and we all had to stay overnight there. And I remember sitting having a glass of wine with one of my colleagues, and we just started chatting. And it was in that conversation we mapped out a program, we mapped out how we were going to work together, and it would never have happened had we not just been sitting and having that conversation. And I think that was my question. I was going to ask Chad and maybe John and I think Christine, or for those of you who do go to conferences, maybe I just have to get over myself. But they do have those facilitated smaller groups where people are encouraged to, and rather than just let them to do and I think that's valuable, because for some of us who are a bit shy, we're just not going to go up and talk to people unless I have a microphone, but I can't walk around a conference with a microphone.
Why not? Absolutely, you can. I walk around with a big video setup.
Chad's got the whole setup. He walks around. He looks like a robot. But
people think I'm like a reporter, that
and they
want to
get in front of you. They want to
interview you. They want to talk to me. If you walk around with a microphone, people are gonna be like, "Hi," because they're like,
I do that.
He has the microphone.
I do that too, and then some people wave. They want
to get on camera.
Maybe that's in the US. I don't know. Here in Aussie, we would be looked at strangely, wouldn't we, if we walked around?
We looked at strangely, but it doesn't matter because it gets attention.
Yeah, Americans don't care about looking strange.
Here's a good example of the whole, like, why do we watch lives or doing things, right? If this had come across my timeline, or I got an invite from Christine's going live with Doyle. I don't know Doyle. I've never met Doyle. Now I've met Doyle, and his camera doesn't keep up, and it's funny because he keeps doing like, but right. But I only know 2 people in here, and now I've got a chance to connect with all of you guys. I wouldn't have even watched this, but Christine messaged me and said, "Hey, they're talking about you in this live group." And so I'm like, "Oh, they're talking about me." Right? And so now I'm here, and now there's these 7 new people that I didn't meet before because I'm vain, and I heard they were talking about me. Right?
Chad, who I met at Social Media Day Denver in 2018 and got to know better at Social Media Marketing World 2019 and 2020.
Wow.
Yeah. I didn't even say, Christine, what's the live about?
Nope.
Do what?
He said that he came on this because it was about him.
Not about him, but I messaged him. I'm like, oh, we were mentioning you before. I was like, Chocolate Johnny's on. I was talking about the Oompa Loompa thing. You got to come on.
And so I came.
My phone went on for him.
That's right.
Yeah.
Well,
I didn't even ask Christine what it was about. I'm like, they mentioned me. I'm going.
I mean, the boys invited me. Keith and Doyle, said, do you want to come back? I couldn't wait. I thought, I'm going to meet some new people. And I'm, the one, Anne-Marie Cross is one person I've been dying to meet because I love what she does. And Doyle speaks so highly of her. And I'm like, great. Now I
don't get out much. I really, Keith, me and you need to start going out.
We should do.
Else.
She's been my role model in a way. I mean, Anne-Marie said to me one time, well, why are you going into the city? We can do it on Zoom. And I said, you know what? You're right. So, we did a show in 2008 on Blog Talk Radio, arguably the worst piece of technology in the history of the world. But, it was a good start. We got a start in the world. And
here you are now.
That's how we met Blog Talk Radio, because I had a Blog Talk Radio show.
Right. Yeah. And look, the thing is that we're in Melbourne, and Australia's a small place, and I've spoken at events where there were 12 people in the room. right? And I'm thinking, I got dressed up. I bought a shirt. I went into the city for 12 people. I mean, what a waste of time. Okay, there was 12 people in the room and I didn't know them before, but it took up 3 hours of my life. And Anne-Marie and I have had that particular stream because we live in a small country with a small population relatively, and we can go to events and there's hardly anyone there. And you really ask yourself, well, why bother?
I think you're a big country with a big country and small population. That's very serious problem. Like if you had a small country with small population, it'd be easy. You can get around like this.
The conference that I got the most out of, the best connections from, and paid the most to go to, had the fewest amount of people.
Wow, which was that?
I think the difference between that, Chad, and Keith, let me just validate that. A lot of the people that go have no real idea what you're talking about anyway. And I think it's different when you get a smaller group of like-minded people that when they start, brainstorming, all of a sudden these incredible ideas because they're bouncing off one another. And I think that's the difference. Find a smaller group of like-minded people and the ideas can just flow.
Yeah, and that's what this was. It was Mark Schaefer put on a thing called The Uprising. Yeah. And there was only 30 of us there for 2.5 days. Every meal we ate together, but you had assigned seats and they changed at every meal. So you were talking with other people. And we had drinks at night outside. It was all in one place, but it was just 30 people, all marketers. I was really the only solo guy. Everybody else were like CMOs and worked for big companies, but 30 people like-minded, like Anne-Marie said, that made a bit. If it's 12 people who are like, mom and pops and you're going to teach them, Facebook ads, that's like.
Yeah. And there was a heckler in the room too. Keith kept having to validate Twitter, and in the end, I just jumped in and said, "Well, that's what a lot of people are like before they become informed." So it's kind of like just sit back because that's sometimes what the Aussie culture sometimes, isn't it?
We have the tall
let's
let's wrap up. Are you thinking?
Yeah. Go ahead.
Well,
are you thinking of wrapping up? Is that where you were going with that?
Yeah, I think we should wrap up soon.
And also, you have to remember that you're not only talking to them, you're talking to their network as well.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a really good point.
So if each person, let's say their network is 100 each solid, and you have 30 people, that's 3,000 people that you're talking to.
Very true.
So you can't. I had to talk myself out of that one also. Because I was, I would do these events for authors or actresses or showbiz people, and there'd be like 5 people in the room, but all 5 people wanted to engage me and move forward, whereas I could have been in a room with 100 people and everyone went, well, thanks, it was really great. I didn't pay attention.
I'll give you a unique thing too, is that we talk about being real and about relationships. I know you're trying to wrap up. I get asked to be on podcasts. I get asked to speak at conferences. All these different things, and nobody really knows what I do. Like I have almost zero of my own content out there because I'm busy doing stuff for clients and whatever. But I have my wife and I are well known as a couple.
Yep.
And she isn't even a social media marketer. She's an artist. But we are just us, and we just share us, and we just care about others, and others know that we care about them and that we're like 100%. We're real. And we've just built relationships with people to the point where they go, hey, do you want to be on my podcast? And I'm like, sure. And then they go, what do you do?
Well,
you could just talk about that.
The fact that you are known by so many people and the quality of the people that you are known by reflection, people say, well, they must be a big deal.
Right.
And it's because we're friends with those people because we never treated them like they were a big deal. We just treated them like friends.
Yeah.
You can just be a connection.
That's the big thing. That's the big thing.
Really?
Yeah.
John's the same way. John is just John.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, awesome. Well, look, it's been a fantastic
Because the
discussion.
thing is, if they're not a good person, you don't want to work with them anyway.
Yeah. No,
I'm sorry I came in and ended the party.
Yeah, no, you didn't.
We enjoyed your company.
Not. You started the party. But I do want to do kind of like a lightning round, and I know my video is kind of jerking and that sort of thing, so I haven't been able to interject too many times here. But let's do a quick lightning round, go around the room. What's your number one tip for live streaming for business, and then tell us how we can get in touch with you to carry the conversation forward. So Crystal, you're next. You're on my right, so let's start with you.
Sure. So don't compare your beginning to someone else's middle or apex sometimes. Put it on your calendar and start live streaming, Charisse. And we need to know the date that you're going to start live streaming.
We do.
And you can find me on Facebook, Coach Crystal, Twitter, Coach Crystal, Instagram, Coach Crystal, or Small Changes Are Huge YouTube page.
Perfect. Thank you. Sarjeet.
Yeah, I think the best tip is like be authentic, and when you're live, be live. Don't record and say that you're live, and try to be most interactive you can be. If you can have your buddy, monitoring the comments, as we said earlier, right? That's awesome, or a better tool to curate those comments and then put those on and stuff like that, so people feel that they're part of it. And I'm on Twitter with we don't see that thing there. This is my first name, last name at the rate.
Yeah, cool. Yeah. Thanks, Sarjeet.
Thank you.
Christine.
One big tip I'd give, besides what they gave, which of course, just do it, is it's sort of almost, you want to be authentic, but when it comes to the confidence of live streaming, you do have to sort of fake it till you make it. You have to take whatever confidence you can muster and just put it out there, because just like the camera adds 10 pounds, it sucks out a lot of personality, and it can suck out a lot of confidence. And if you want your audience to if you want to really respect your audience's attention, you have to really come at them with a confidence, whether you're feeling it or not. And I'm the only Christine Gritman there is. I'm very easy to find. And I'm also Gritman.com.
Good stuff. Thank you. Anne-Marie.
Yeah, I'm going to pick up on Christine. So I loved what she said there. And I loved what Chad said in the comment here about being authentic. And I think confidence will also come from knowing what makes you authentic and being mindful of some of the uniqueness that you bring to the conversation. And one of the things that one of my mentors, Jennifer Allwood, said, which I love, and she said, sometimes people wait to get to a level of confidence before they step out. You don't need that. You just need the courage. And often for many of us, the permission to get out there and share. And your audience, the people who love the way your style and the experience that you create, they're going to resonate with your message. And at the end of the day, they're the people that lives you want to influence and impact. So just, have that courage. Do that one live stream, then do another and another and another. And before long, you'll turn back, and like Keith and I, you'll probably listen to your very first podcast and think, yay. But that first podcast was what got you on the pathway and the journey to where you are now. So just start.
Perfect. Thank you. And how can we reach out to you?
Anne-Marie Cross on LinkedIn. I'm really focusing on LinkedIn at the moment. Love to connect with you there.
Awesome. Thank you. Gail.
I just wanted to make a comment about what Christine said. Coming from entertainment and Hollywood, what that space that you just described, where you just carry on regardless, that's called showtime. It's showtime. That's it. Yeah, exactly. It's the zone that they talk about in sports. That is what it is. And actually, it's a very cool thing because it's portable. It travels with you, and you can take it with you wherever you go. And so you bring it to networking events. You bring it to live streaming events. You take it with you wherever you go. As a media-centric person, as the celebritizer, it's good to know what the media eats so you can feed it, because you are part of it. So it's good to have some sound bites. It's good to have some talking points in bits and bytes. So that doesn't mean you have to speak that way all the time, 100% of the time, but you want to tell your story using color and detail. You want to drop the other person in. By dropping them in, you are making them feel like what you're saying is about them. The biggest takeaway for me from this live stream that we just did is something that I already knew, but I didn't realize how blatant that it was, and that is how really personal it is. How incredibly personal. And I think with Christine's thing where she did that live stream at the airport, and thinking, this is so bullshit. I can't believe I'm doing this, but the universe is having me do it, so I'm doing it. And it turned out to be like a huge applause. The return was incredible. So you trusted your instinct. So I would also tell anyone, if you're going to do any kind of media, and this is as powerful as being on the 5 o'clock news, get a little media coaching, or don't go there, or read about it, or call me, or Facebook me, or whatever, and we'll have a conversation. I have a book. So whatever, I am Gail, Gayl Murphy, on LinkedIn, Facebook, and Twitter. I am going to follow each of you in the next couple of days, because I'm a lazy girl right now. And you better follow me back, or I'm coming here.
We will.
John.
I'm going to add to what Anne-Marie says. And firstly, courage is definitely the big thing. Take a deep breath. Use your courage. Push the start broadcast button. Someone will watch you. As I said before, someone's going to listen to you. You know, you have a story and you don't realize how important it is to someone out there. And that one person that who might be another small business owner watching and listening to you might just need that little bit of advice to take them to that next level, because we are in really tough times. And this is now where a small business owner needs to take that opportunity instead of sitting down there and, you know, dwelling on, I wish I had more customers coming in. I wish my online sales were going to, you know, take the courage, push the button, talk about who you are. We want to know who you are. Let me into your home. Let me into your business. Let me look into your eyes, and just have a great time with it. And as the great man up there above said, you know, come with a smile, right, Sajid?
Yes. Wear your smile.
Yeah,
Wear your smile.
Perfect. And how do we get in touch with you, John?
John Capos on LinkedIn, and just Google Chocolate Johnny. There's me next to this guy called Johnny Depp, but he pretends to be Chocolate Johnny. But I'm on Twitter and Snapchat and Instagram and Facebook and all that. So yeah, John Capos and Chocolate
Johnny.
Oh,
Yeah, that's right.
Thanks, John. All right, and Chad, welcome and thank you for, you know, joining us and dropping in. Really appreciate that. So what's your sort of final tip, and how do we reach out to you?
Well, first of all, there is only 2 people with the last name Ia Peterson in the entire world. That's me and my wife. We both took each other's last names. So Chad Ia Peterson. Otherwise, you know, Instagram, Twitter, and all the other places. The Story Catcher is where you can find me. To tell you what, guys, it's odd for me to be here. I'm giving this to you from my perspective, because here I am in this group talking about live video with a bunch of live video gurus, and I'm the only person in here who's never actually had a live video show. So yeah, that goes along with my, hey, want to be on my podcast? I don't really know what you do. About to start our own live show, me and Daniel Glickman, in a couple weeks. So that's coming. So we are going to do it. But look, if you're going to go live, what I would suggest, because this is what makes me decide if I'm going to watch, is do I need to watch this right now? And why do I need to watch it right now? And to kind of take you know, if you're going to do that, then make it something that, to kind of quote Hamilton, makes me want to be in the room where it happened. Or in this case, in the room when it happened. And I think that's a big piece of it. So just, if you're going to go live, then just ask, why do people need to see this now and not later?
Perfect question.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right, Keith, and you want to wrap up, and then I'll do a quick little close.
So this is the 14th episode of a 10-part series. We started with an idea in April 2020 because we were locked in our houses. We decided we were going to test every social media site that had a live streaming product. And we've pretty much done that. Not everyone, but we've pretty much done that. My gut feeling is that if you're not ready for live streaming, do some practice runs. Most sites allow you to practice before you push the go live button, but there are significant benefits to doing it. And if you want to do this experiment, record a video, put it on YouTube, and you just test how many people are going to watch it. 0. Do the same video on live streaming and you just watch it blow up. You just watch it. Just try the experiment. and do it in a very sequential, safe way. Doyle and I have got some stuff for you about that. I'll let Doyle tell you about that. We're very proud of what we've done. We're making it up as we go. We don't know everything, but we're trying stuff, yeah?
We're going live and live.
And isn't it good? I mean, isn't it good, Doyle, what we've achieved so far, just by having a go?
Yeah.
Let me just do this for you, Keith. Can you hear this? I've been trying to push that button all day. That's right. Sorry.
The laugh track, the applause button.
You guys are actually, before we close that door, you guys have done a great job, actually. Thanks for inviting me to a couple of episodes, one for full, and then other times just drop in for a few minutes or so. Thank you very much for you have done. You have done a lot, the big favor to so many people out there, and yeah, thanks. I'm looking forward to seeing an outcome out of this, and other stuff you guys are doing. So yeah,
thanks so
much.
You.
Perfect. No, thank you so much. And yeah, just to wrap up quickly, we do have our live streaming challenge that's coming. We start July 20th, bit.ly/live streaming challenge. And that is really what we're going to, in essence, be doing, is creating a safe environment for people to come and learn what's important about live streaming and what's not, and what you can kind of start with. We call it our live streaming ABCs. A for audience, B for building, and C for your content. And if you've got those three things, guess what? You can start to put together a nice live show. So we're going to have a private Facebook group where you can actually test and practice. So you don't necessarily have to have the courage yet to go live across Facebook or whatever the case may be. So we're going to make a safe environment as well to give you that courage. And I love what you said, Gail, about having showtime. I think that's perfect. So I really want to thank everybody. It's been a fantastic, almost 2 hours. I can't believe that it's been that long. It feels so short. So it's been fantastic for everybody, myself included. Keith and I thank you for taking your time out of your day. If you are watching on replay, #replay, if you do have questions, please ask your questions as you go in the replay as well. And would love to hear from you as well. So please like and share also. So thank you again, everybody. Thank you for my wonderful guests. We did want to have a word game, but don't worry, we're not going to do it. So everybody just say goodbye. And
Can we do the wave? Can we do the wave?
Bye.
Yes. Bye.
Thanks. Bye, everybody.
Thanks, everybody.
Oh, wow. Good week.
Lovely meeting, everyone.